Okay, we're going to start with a simple test to see if you have weak glutes. We're going to talk about how to activate and strengthen them. Hey you guys, so we're going to start out with a super easy test to just kind of test our glute strength, see if we have any imbalances with them. Really super easy. What we're going to do is you're just going to lay on the ground. We're just going to really go into a basic bridge. So with this bridge, we just want to make sure that our shoulders, hips, and knees are all in line with each other. So what we're going to do is we're just going to raise up. Once we get into that bridge, we're going to raise, make sure everything's in a line. When you've done that, you're just going to think about raising one leg. Once you get up there, what are those hips doing? Are they staying parallel? Is one of them drooping a bit? And then we're going to come back down, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to get into our bridge. We're going to make sure we're fully in line. Then I'm going to raise my leg. Okay, how's my hip looking? Looks pretty straight, but I really feel like this is a lot harder on this side. So it almost feels like I have a little bit of an imbalance or a little bit weaker glute on my right side. So you should be able to tell that either by your hip drooping, or you can really tell like, wow, I'm really having to work hard to stay in this one leg bridge. Super easy test. It's just going to kind of tell you maybe what's going on back there. So one way to make sure that we can help increase the amount of work done by our glute muscles is by doing glute activation exercises before we actually start our workout. So what we want to do is we want to get that muscle firing. So glute activation exercises are pretty much just kind of like a warm-up, but what they do is they're going to target that glute, they're going to get the muscles firing, and it's going to allow us to get the most out of our next butt workout. So the first thing we're going to start with for our first activation exercise, we're just going to do 3 of them. We're going to do a hip extension. So what you're going to do is you're going to start on all fours. You want to make sure that your wrists are directly under your shoulders. And then you're just going to lift your leg as high as you can, but without getting an arch in your back. That's the critical piece of this. So I'm just going to lift my leg, and I'm really going to think about squeezing that glute maybe for a 2-second hold. I'm not going up here and arching. I'm keeping a flat back because it's all about the glute. I'm going to come back down. I'm going to kick up, and it's all just about the glute. It's a tabletop back. It should be completely straight, no arching. It's just about getting the glute engaged and kind of firing. So I would do 15 on each side. So once you finish 15 of those, we're going to go into a single leg glute bridge. So we're just going to kind of hit them in different ways here. So we're going to lay back, kind of like what we did earlier. We're just going to lay straight back. We're going to have our feet firmly planted on the ground. Our hands are just going to be next to us. So we're going to, as we lift up our leg, we're going to lift our hip. So we're just going to lift and lower. Lift and lower. So we're just lifting up. Really think about squeezing that glute, and then we're going to lower back to the ground. So of course, we're going to do 15 on one leg, and then, so once again, we're going to reposition ourselves, relax in between. As we lift up, we're going to raise that leg and lower. Squeezing with the glute and lowering. Okay, last we're going to do clamshell. So you're just going to lay on the side. You're going to have your legs stacked, one on top of the other. However you're comfortable, you can have your hand here, whatever feels the most comfortable to you. And all you're going to do with this is you're just going to lift your leg up and lower. You don't want your feet to completely get separated like that. You want to make sure that your feet are still touching. So it's just a slight lift. So this really hits more of the side of the glute here. We're kind of activating that side here, side of the glute. So we're going to do 15 on each side. So even just doing this many, I'm already feeling that. So that's what you really want to do before your next maybe glute focused workout or any kind of leg workout where you're going to focus on your glutes. Because you're going to get those guys fired up and ready to go. And that's the whole key, is waking them up, then they're ready to kind of do their work. But if you go into it and they're not activated, they're kind of not turned on, they're just kind of hanging out, they're really not going to, you're not going to get that intense of a workout with them. This is why you really need to think about doing these activation exercises prior to your workout. Okay, so what's the other thing that could be hindering it is tight hip flexors. So if you have a tight hip flexors, let's say you sit a lot, gosh, it really could be a lot of different factors, but the thing you want to think about doing is stretching those out, because if they're tight, you have to think they're going to be you're going to be a little bit more in this position here. It's not going to allow you to really activate and get those glutes firing if these guys are tight, because you really can't get here. So let's think about stretching those hip flexors out. You can just put one knee out in front of the other. This hand is going to go on your opposite knee. You're going to press in on this knee as you tighten this glute and drive it forward. So I'm thinking about driving that. I'm not pushing it forward. I'm just kind of driving, really tightening that glute, and I can really feel that pull and stretch in my hip flexor. So that's another good thing. Activating, making sure your hip flexors are stretched out. When it comes to strengthening, think about doing a lot of unilateral exercises, meaning one leg exercises, because what that's going to do is help you balance out if you have an imbalance. Like I was saying, my right one felt maybe a little weaker than my left. So let's say you're doing one-legged, like a touchdown here. You have some weights and you're touching down. So it might be easier. This glute's already pretty strong. This is my weaker glute. I'm going to add one more set onto this guy. So if I'm doing 3 sets of 12 to 15, I'm going to do 4 sets on this one. I'm going to make him do an extra set every time. Because what are we trying to do? We're trying to get that imbalance to be balanced again, getting him as strong as this guy is. So that's another good thing. Think about unilateral training. It's okay to do bilateral training here. That's fine. Just really concentrate on getting that activation in first, but throw in that one leg training. It really will make a difference. All right, you guys, I hope this was helpful. Remember, following the guidelines, being prepared for that intense glute workout is always a good thing. Thanks for joining me. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and I'll work out with you guys soon.